Good morning, everyone. My name is John Glover. I'm the Ops Section Chief for the Grizzly Creek Fire, and I'll be giving you today's operational update for August 31st, 2020. Currently, we're showing 32,464 acres, 73% containment, and we have roughly 626 personnel on the incident. With the operational update, we'll start in Branch 1, Division November, where it comes off of the I-70 corridor. Over the last couple of days, we've inserted personnel into no-name drainage, and they've continued to strengthen the control lines up no-name and start grabbing more containment up and around the northwest corner of the perimeter. Currently, we have a hot shot crew in the no-name drainage by H12, supported by 4 or 5 jumpers in there, and additionally 2 hotshot crews and miscellaneous overhead up on top near what we're calling H2 and the 2 cabin sites up here. They're having good success in containment in this area, coming up from the bottom and working off the ridge top to the bench and cliff walls on either side. Yesterday we had a decent wind event over the entire fire area, and we did not see any significant perimeter growth in and around the northwest corner. That's our number one priority at this point. We will continue to see operations in here for the next few days with personnel going direct and trying to strengthen the containment lines that they're putting in now. And we should see black on the map in about probably 4 or 5 days in that area, I would anticipate, if all things stay relative. They're being supported by heavy helicopters and light helicopters doing logistics and water missions for them. So you'll see a fair amount of traffic, aviation traffic going up no-name, coming out of Glenwood Springs. Working our way around up into Grizzly Creek Canyon, you're seeing a fair amount of heat signature in here. But a lot of those areas and the perimeter growth is complemented by the fuels that it's burning in. So what I mean by that is it followed the fuel that it had to go down in there, and then it runs out into some rocky areas and so on and so forth. This is steep, arduous country, and like I've told you guys before, we don't anticipate putting ground personnel in here because it's incredibly difficult to try and do a medical transport out of there if someone were to get injured. We have a good vantage point, good lookouts from over on the west side, and also up here looking down from where our containment line ties into the Grizzly Creek cliff band there. So we're monitoring this. We also have aviation assets up that are keeping eyes on it, and we have the ability, if anything starts to boil up in here and show some activity, that we can put some helicopter buckets on it and try and cool and tame that down. As we come across into Quebec and Tango Whiskey, crews and personnel are continuing to gain depth off of the control line, mop up and patrol this entire area. They're having good success there. It's just a lot of country out here, so it's taken us some time. Into Tango Whiskey, we have a suppression repair group that's working in that area. The lines are holding well. Everything is doing what we expect it to do. And our suppression repair group is pulling in the edge and the berms off of the dozer lines, rehabbing that line, and making for sure that we don't have any drainage issues that come off of there as we get into the wetter season. Coming south of I-70 into Division XRay, this whole burnout that was accomplished about a week ago is holding well. There's still a little bit of heat signatures that we're seeing in here. But crews are patrolling and continuing to gain mop-up depth in the areas of concern where we're seeing heat signatures closest to the line. But we don't anticipate any containment issues there. But they are continuing to gain depth, and we're monitoring this through patrols. As we come around into Division Zulu, personnel are still working this piece in here. I know it doesn't look very far on the map, but on the ground it's about 8.5 miles of perimeter. So as you can imagine, that's pretty tough, rugged country to be walking across that whole landscape and ensuring that we don't have any heat in there. They're being diligent and continuing to work that, strengthen that. We're hoping to add some containment over the next week in this area here where we can access it, but some of this bails off of the ridge pretty hard, and it is again an area that we don't have a high level of confidence of being able to extract somebody, so we cautiously engage and use the appropriate tools and equipment to try and accomplish that, or we are in a position where we monitor that from the top side. We still are going to maintain the containment lines that are, or contingency lines on the outside of this perimeter, and we have a high level of confidence that even with the wind events we saw yesterday, they will hold if anything were to come out of this area. There may be some smoke and stuff that you see in here, and that's pockets of fuel that were unconsumed that are burning out. Most of that area is surrounded by black, or it has a good hardwood component around it that will slow perimeter growth in that area. Coming around into Division Alpha, crews are having success in here. They're still pushing containment out towards the west and then down towards the I-70 corridor. Again, pretty steep, arduous terrain here, so it's a slow process, but we are having success, and we're gaining depth off of our control line and continuing to progress containment out to the west. We're still unable to get into this area. I don't think we'll actually have ground personnel in there. It's a steep chute that goes all the way down. I flew that yesterday, as well as the rest of the fire, but took a real good look in here. There's been no perimeter growth at all. The edge looks very cool. But until we have a little bit more time and we're tested through a little bit more fire weather conditions, we're not gonna have containment showing in that area. Additionally, across the fire, we're supporting the local area for initial attack response, and we have personnel staged and ready on both the east and the west side of the fire to support the local area with any new fires that they have and providing initial attack capabilities. Last thing I would like to say is, we had a pretty good day yesterday, like I said, for winds and to see how our lines are holding, and we feel confident in those. I think today is going to be another really good test as we reach critical fire weather conditions. So I want you guys to know that we're looking forward to that in some ways to figure out an idea if there's any other problem areas that we need to address. But we have the folks in the right place to be able to attack anything if it were to move. Thank you to the community for all of the support, for all of the thank you letters on the side of the road, and for the warm welcome for the Alaska team and our personnel.